Good afternoon, everyone, and we'll be today discussing about what are the problems that SMEs are actually facing when it comes to not meeting the criteria of making profits in a budget. So we know that everybody takes care of every detail of the scope. They will do every kind of cross checking before they quote. But at what happens is like once they have started working on a project, they all of a sudden kind of realize that they are working a lot, there is a lot of cash flow, etc. But somewhere the profits are getting lost. So today's presentation is all about kind of understanding where are these profits actually getting disappeared and how we can actually overcome it. And we are not really trying to say that we have to change the way that we work, but we are trying to show you some places where that leakage actually happens. So with that, let me take you through the presentation. So the common points that kind of bothers everybody in SMEs is that one, we have a cash flow, but there is a lot of pressure. Cash flow is there, but the cash is not coming on time. Then many people feel that BIM is expensive, which is not the case. And in some cases, there is a mindset that BIM is only for luxury projects or BIM is only for a project of particular kind. But that is not truth. And BIM is actually a kind of mandate today. And in a consistent environment where you have been working on projects in BIM continuously, you see that some 10 to 12% of money is just getting disappeared somewhere. So you see the cash coming in, the profits are there, but all of a sudden you realize that, okay, there is some imbalance. And also the other common entity that we can see is that the profits come, the profits accumulate, but all of a sudden there is some big expenditure that comes and it eats up your profits. So these are some common points that people are discussing in SME industry when it comes to working in BIM projects. So we'll try to look at some of these and many more other points today. Now, before we get in, let's try to understand one point, like what if we don't do BIM? Okay. Now on your left hand side, what you see is a cost of doing BIM. So there are three costs there. So the year one is all about your setup of hardware and software. Then year two onwards, you are actually renewing your subscriptions and you might be like filling the gaps in hardware. And other than this, you have a commitment of monthly salaries. Now, these are some approximate figures, but now if you say that I will not do BIM, what is that you are actually kind of losing out? That is on the right hand side. So majorly we are kind of losing out on the cost or the credibility as it. And over a period of time, if we don't address it, we might end up spending twice the money that we would have actually earned from a project. And also, when we are a small SME, there is one danger of spreading of bad things about the company, like a particular company couldn't perform in a particular project and things like that, which would actually become a branding issue, and you will have to spend a little bit of more time on recreating the brand, recreating the credibility and stuff. So other than this, the other major thing is that whenever there is a real requirement of BIM, you are not doing BIM, and all of a sudden you require BIM, you end up putting somebody in that position at a very costly CTC, and they are there for some time, they leave, and that becomes a vacuum. There is no continuity of process, and a huge money is getting lost there. So these are some small kind of scenarios of doing BIM and not doing BIM. And in a simple math, like if you just do some little bit of math and you think that, okay, I'm losing some 10 to 15% of my actual profit by not doing BIM, it's like you are losing somewhere around 30 lakh rupees per year because you're not doing BIM. So we can look at it in various ways. So I just try to give a very simple, basic understanding of what BIM would actually cost and what not doing BIM would actually cost you. Now, with that, let's move in. Now, firstly, let's understand who are actually SMEs. So there are different definitions of SMEs. In India, the Ministry of MSME defines SMEs by the investment and turnover. But in the international market, many countries, they define who is an SME by the count of employees that they employ. Now, with this, who are SMEs again in our context today? So today in India, we see a lot of startups there, and also we have some companies who have spent substantial time in market. They built their market, they built their reach in the market. So if you look at it, like we see micro, small, and medium enterprises spread across companies which are like 1 to 2 years, which are young startups, then startups which are in their mid of career, and startups who have kind of reached break-even point and trying to grow. And there are also a lot of veteran businesses which are like 10 plus years, but they kind of qualify for MSME certification and they're called MSMEs. So this is one way of understanding who are SMEs in India. And if you particularly look at in ecos sector, now we have architecture, engineering, construction, and operations. So on the other side, if you look at who are SMEs here, so we have clients. So there are a lot of clients who are the first time developers. They're constructing for the first time, and they might have a MSME certificate, and they are obviously SMEs. Then we have consultants, which is comprising of design and engineering firms. Then we have a lot of controllers, especially like project management companies. Then we have constructors, the people who are working on site, contractors, vendors, suppliers, manufacturers, a lot of them. And lastly, we do have contributors like BIM service providers, digital service providers. Then we have a lot of specialty consultants, etc., who basically contribute the other four kind of profiles in the industry. Now, this is how SMEs are kind of organized in our AECO sector. Now, with all this, now let's get into where our profits are leaking. So this entire presentation, I'm just basing it on three aspects: people, process, and technology. So we'll try to understand how we are losing out our profits, or how do we, what are the alternate ways and means to ensure that we don't lose our profits on these three aspects: people, process, and technology. So firstly, starting with people. So while everybody thinks that we work for 12 months, from the perspective of an employer, if you see, the employer is supposed to pay a lot of other perks. So one of it is the paid leave. So paid leave is mostly like 20-21 days, which is almost equal to 1 month. So while somebody is working for 12 months, the employer is supposed to pay 13 months salary plus a lot of other perks and incentives and stuff. What happens now is that when we are quoting, we always think that, okay, the money that I'm making from a project is taking care of my 12-month salary. Ideally, you should be thinking whether it can take care of my 13 or 14 months salary. So this is one area where we are actually losing out our profits. The next one is this hiring trap. Normally what happens in tier 2 and 3 cities is that the tier 2 and 3 cities, the small companies are trying to set up their BIM services, are probably into their engineering. They're trying to adopt BIM and offer BIM. Now they get kind of carried away by people returning from tier 1 cities saying that they have worked in large projects, MNCs, etc. They fall for their fancy resumes and their presentation skills, and they end up hiring them. But the reality is different. So somebody coming from tier 1 might have just become a BIM lead or a BIM manager a couple of months back, and that is good in communication. The tier 2 and 3 employers are getting like fooled by him. But the reality should be that you should actually go by the skill set and not by the looks and the way resume is created. So this is one place where most of tier 2 and 3 cities are losing out their profits. The next one is the over-reliance on key personnel. So this is one common thing in all kind of tiers, wherein we kind of think of a particular set of people in the company, and whatever we do, we are continuously doing around that particular person or a set of people. And when these people leave the company, there is a huge vacuum. And to fill that vacuum, we'll have to do a lot of other alternative things of filling that gap. So this is also one big unknown thing where huge profits get lost. And the next one is the downtime. So this is also one very important problem where any project we take, while the project is like 6 months, 9 months, or 1 year, the projects never go continuously, and there is always a downtime because of various reasons. And during this downtime, we are always confused. What do we do with that team? So you won't be getting a small project for 15 days, 1 month, and stuff like that. But that downtime has to be paid. Now, this downtime is where you are actually kind of paying more salary compared to your initial estimate. Then you have this bench cost. So this problem again comes somewhere related to downtime. So when you have a downtime, the projects get distributed away from its timeline, and two projects are meeting, then you might end up having a few people on bench. Now this people on bench are supposed to be paid salary. Now this is also not accounted for. Then you have this moonlighting problem now, where the employees are provided work from home, and they're working from home without your supervision, and they're working on multiple projects outside the office in their part time and stuff. Now this additional work they are doing is actually eating up their energy, and they're unable to concentrate during the actual working hours. Now, with this, what is happening is their productivity is coming down, the quality of output is coming down, which eventually is costing you profit. The next one is the performance, wherein we have really some very good staff with us, but over a period of time, we have forgotten that we don't know where their skills are right now. Now, when you have a particular new project, a new kind of experimentation you want to do in technology, now you realize that you have skill gaps. Now, not working on the skill gaps actually would cost you a later day a very huge money. So this is also one place where the profits of future projects are getting leaked out. And lastly, we do have this capacity limits and overloading performance, like overloading of people, wherein a person is capable of handling somewhere like 2 to 3 projects, or if you look by square footage, somebody can very comfortably work on a 1 million square feet project, or a set of projects which are like 1 million square feet. Now, when you overburden him with more projects or probably more footage, he will be unable to perform well, which eventually leads to inefficiency, quality issues, and again, you will have to put more people, more managers, more observation. So it becomes like a roller coaster where you try to overburden a person and you'll end up creating a additional person in the team. And lastly, this intern trap. Now, many companies, they think that interns can be used for live projects, which is where we are doing a mistake. Interns are yet learning, so the curriculum in colleges differ, the way of teaching by the professors differ. So while people would know some subject, we assume that the yet to be graduated people are like very well versed and they're aware of the industry, which might not be the real case. So when we kind of use this interns on the live projects, we're actually doing a very big mistake wherein the interns move out and nobody monitored them, and you don't know what they have done. Now you have submitted and you don't know how to repair it or probably how to recreate it and stuff. So once they move out, there is a huge problem that is created, and to fill that gap, you will have to actually invest some resources, which is going to cost you money. So using interns on live projects is actually very risky. Now, coming to the process, this is one common problem we have: underquoting and incomplete scope. So in the urgency to get the projects, we are not really studying the scope in detail. There is a conflict in the scope. The same output is kind of explained in different ways throughout the document. We don't pay attention. We don't raise enough questions to the client before signing the contract. Other than that, we have this problem of underquoting because the market is very competitive and we want to get that project. So by doing all this, we might get the project, but what has happened is that we didn't account for the actual effort. We know that it's 100 effort, but we quoted for 70 effort. So that difference of 30, it is to be paid from our profits only. The next one is the bundling of BIM with your design fee. So many design consultants, especially in MEP and structure, they just add up the cost of BIM into design and they give one cost to the client. Now, what happens is over a period of time, there is some change in the scope. The client wants two design options, but one BIM model, or one design option and no BIM model. A lot of things will come up. Now, in this kind of restructuring, the actual effort of BIM is getting lost, and it becomes very difficult for you to negotiate and put the things on track. So it is not really advisable to kind of put BIM and design as one item. So it could always be like even though you are giving one total, it is very good that if you can give two line items. And the next one is the indirect cost. Now, many BIM service companies would know this problem, but design and engineering companies normally wouldn't recognize this problem. The problem is that we have a lot of other people in our company like IT, admin, HR, and marketing, and a lot of operation people who actually help us run the show. Now, where is the cost of these people coming from? So in a typical BIM services company, yes, they know that these people are there and they're accounting for. But when it comes to the design and engineering companies, the way they work is different. But when you have a separate BIM team within a design engineering company and you have a separate team for design and engineering, so somewhere we are missing out the cost of this support team. And end of the day, the salaries and whatever the benefits are going to these people should actually go from our profits. So this is one area where we are actually not accounting and quoting properly. The other one we have is the rework. Now, many people kind of think that revision and rework are same. Actually, they are not. So revision is somewhere where we know that something existed and it is just changing a little bit here and there. So the element has to be there and it has to take a new form. But rework is totally different. Like somebody comes and moves a room in architecture and they say it revision. That is not revision. So the wall moving by maybe like 100 might be a revision for architect, but the same wall moving by 1 meter in architecture is not a rework, sorry, is not a revision for structure and MEP. So for them, moving all the systems by 1 meter, they will have to rework the design. They'll have to revisit the code standards, lot of things. So there's a clear difference between rework and revision, and don't try to agree for the rework as revision. This is one major place where we are actually undercoating our efforts and we lose out profits when the client ends up doing a lot of revision. Then we have this misreading of brief and wrong presumptions. So most of the BIM documents today have a lot of technical terminology and kind of like it's a little difficult for somebody who is not from BIM to understand the real definition and understand the interdependencies and stuff. Now, this misreading and presuming wrongly, especially in case of LODs. So people presume LOD 300 might have this, might not have this, and stuff like that. Now, all these presumptions will cost you later. So when you are submitting the deliverable to the client pulls out the document and says, okay, this is what I meant. I don't care like what you presumed, but this is what I want. And you will have to end up redoing it at no cost. So this is also one very a drastic mistake that we are doing while we are coding. Then we have this change management. Now, what happens is like at our end, when we are operating it, we are not having anybody to look at the changes. It could be a process change, it could be the scope change, or it could be even the model change or the design change and things. Now, not having this change management is actually not, kind of putting us into a kind of dark space where we don't know what is happening on the other side of the wall. Now, when something just opens up and you are all like in a kind of chaos now, and you look around and you understand that somebody told you already but you didn't know, and other teams in that project have actually adhered but I didn't adhere. No, nobody is going to listen to you. The problem is from our side, like we didn't observe the change, and we didn't make our plan to act upon it. So it is better to have somebody observe it and raise the red flags so that you can find out a kind of alternate mechanism to fix it early. So this is also one place where you are actually losing out your profits. Then the next one is this knowledge transfer, wherein we complete a lot of projects, but unfortunately, we are not documenting what really went wrong in that project, and we are not passing it on to the next team or other live projects that are happening. So this is also costing us a lot of profit. So whenever we work with a client, we are like, okay, we worked with this client 3 years back, and this is what the client asked. So from then to now, there is 3 years gap. The client just didn't work only with us. The client would have worked with a dozen other consultants. We know what the client knew 3 years back, but what the client is asking today will be what the market is asking today. So it's a problem of ourselves. Like we are not having knowledge transfer. So having this in place can probably help whatever the other points we discussed before. So this knowledge will help you to address most of those issues. Then the project closure. So this is also like knowledge transfer is one problem connected to that is a project closure. So when the projects are over, we are just backing it up and putting it into one folder. But are we really going and revisiting, trying to understand what could have been done better, where we actually used more time? Did we really follow the scope? Where all we kind of deviated from scope and what it costed us. And from this, are we making a learning document and distributing it back to our contracts team, our HR team, or probably the IT team? So this is something that we are not doing. Now, by doing a project closure, you can actually give a intimation to the concerned contracts team or your marketing team to have some little more margin or be very careful while negotiating and things like that. So this is one very important area that we are all missing out. And lastly, the documentation part. Now, whatever we are talking now, somewhere this all has to be documented because I might be speaking, this recording might be somewhere, but the question is who will say the new person coming into the system that, okay, Arun has made a recording and this recording is in so and so place. You better look at it. So there should be a set of documents. There should be a procedure where everybody who's coming into system are made aware that, okay, this knowledge is there, this learning is there, and this is something that you need to know. So when we are saying that we want to follow ISO 19650 or we want to do high quality documentation from 3D and all, we are missing out on doing the very crucial day-to-day business documentation at our end. So this is very, very critical for us to kind of understand where really we are making mistakes and which of these mistakes are actually costing us the profit. The next one is the technology. Now, technology is again, like we can look at it in different ways. So one big problem that we are having is a heavy investment because somebody says that this software is good or a software company says that I'm running a kind of offer right now, the prices are increasing. We'll just project a lot of unwanted things and we buy a bulk of software and keep it with us. And then we realize that the projects that we were expecting are not coming up. Now, if you actually look at it, the software company told you that you will save 10%. Now, your project got delayed by 6 months. So if you actually compare it, you lost more money than what you saved. So this is also one very, very drastic mistakes that we are doing. Somewhere you will have to kind of understand your network, how the projects are coming in, what is your pipeline, what is your funnel. So understand that timelines with your marketing team or the sales team, and accordingly you just you'll have to understand whether you have to invest heavily in the technology or not. So this will also help you save a lot of profits. The next one is the legacy tools. Something like it is good to have this tool with me. Like for a very simple example, PDF readers. So today the browsers can actually open PDFs. So do we really require a PDF reader installed on our computer? Now, if that is a free application, absolutely no problem. But we had been buying PDF readers for a long time. Now that is a legacy tool right now. Do you really require it? Now we are unnecessarily investing in certain tools which are available in other source like other formats. And this particular additional investment is actually eating into our main technology investment. The next problem is underutilization of the tools, wherein we would have bought a software like, for example, today in the market, you get softwares which club architecture and structural tools, structure and MEP tools. So they don't come for one particular domain or discipline. They come with multiple packaging. Now the question here is, we bought that tool because it was cost effective, but did we really experiment on that? Like, did we really go in and understand what are the other tools that I'm not using? So this is also one big mistake that we are doing. Like while we have a tool, our team is not capable of delivering with that tool, which is actually kind of leading into a scene where the client asks you, can you do this? And the marketing team is like, we don't know. Now you have an investment made, but because the time was not invested or the team didn't try to upskill them, it is costing you profits in your next projects. So this is also one very unknown thing that is eating into our profits. The next one is this rumors and unverified sources. Now, with a lot of social media there, a lot of YouTube videos and LinkedIn posts, we are just creating a lot of unwanted comparisons and stuff around technology. And we're getting diverted. Okay, this tool is good, that tool is not good. This should be there in my office. This was not required. So basically, this is not required. So there are all software companies today have professionals who are their technical experts, their partners are there, and they have really good understanding of the tool. They're ready to come and give a demonstration. They're ready to even walk you through POCs and stuff like that. So try to use this mechanism to understand the tool better and do a right investment, and avoid looking at the social media related unverified sources and making your wrong investments. And as I said, this comparison. So you see a lot of things where two BIM softwares are being compared. Actually, BIM softwares cannot be compared because BIM is a process and the tools within that software are actually workflows. They are not really tools. So somebody says how to draw a wall in software A, and the same wall is drawn in software B in a different way. So software A, they are saying you have to define the cross section of wall, then you have to stretch the wall. But in software B, they are saying, no, I will give you a standard library of the wall. You don't worry about it. You draw a surface, I'll make a wall. So that's a workflow. Unfortunately, what is happening is you see a lot of things in the market where they're comparing two softwares. Now, if you see like the software providers, the OEMs of software providers are not bothered about comparing themselves with their competitors, but the general public is doing and they're misguiding. So don't go by it and don't do a wrong investment. And in the technology, the next big problem that we are having is a digital asset library. While we do a lot of things, we are forgetting to create our library. So we did a project for 2 years, or maybe we did 5, 6 projects for 5 years. Now, next year, when we are starting a project, we are creating all the assets from scratch. We are again going into Google, searching it. We are going into the OEM websites, downloading it. Why? So if you are actually doing a design, and you are also working on BIM on the same design, your design is mostly same, or the way you design, or the kind of systems you create in any project mostly look same across your projects. Now, why can't you take out the content in your free time, curate it, document it, label it, and keep it properly? So this will actually help you to work faster on your next project, and you can avoid a lot of unwanted tasks of preparing your library. The data security and backup process. So this is also one very important thing. So many big projects where the companies are small with 3, 4 people, they forget to have a backup process, and the employees have this habit of not saving the files. They just keep working and they don't save files for almost like 4, 5 hours. And I've met people who have not shut down their systems for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, when they lose the laptops or desktops get restarted for some reason, you're actually not losing just the OAS or some files, but you actually lost a work of 8 hours to some 2, 3 weeks sometimes. So having necessary backup processes and data securities is very important to ensure that you don't redo the things and you don't spend on redoing the things. Now, with all this said, in summary, so if you try to understand people, see, people are always a fixed cost, but the productivity they give or the way you utilize them, how much you take out from them. So basically ROI. So if you are paying a salary to them, the ROI is not fixed. The smarter they work, the better they work, the better they are managed, they can actually give more output in the typical 8 hours. Now, on the process side, what happens is if you follow the process, it will help you earn more. Now, if you don't follow the process, it will ensure that you will lose everything. And on the technology side, what happens is like if you have a right tool, but you don't know how to use it, or you have a wrong tool and you are trying to use it in a different way, it is not going to give any result. So having tool is on one side, and also understanding which tool to have when is also very important. So with this summary, you might have got an idea like in our day-to-day working as on today, where is that invisible corners where actually our profits are going out without our knowledge. Now, with this, what is the way forward? So very simple is like you have to enable people, streamline the processes and adopt right technology. So here are some thoughts from my side, which could probably give you some kind of insights on fixing them. Now, on the people side, you can look at investing in internal training. So the biggest problem today is that companies are not providing budget for training. So it is very necessary that some budget is earmarked and the people, the employees are asked to get upskilled on a regular basis. And this is going to happen. A lot of new technologies are coming. And if you start this investment, it would continue for decades now. Now, other than this, you can look at having the people on bench to do the building of your digital library, creating of SOPs, and a lot of other things. Now, on the other side, like assessing your process. So we know that we are following a very fantastic process within our company. But the question is that process the best? We don't know. So periodically, if you can have somebody, a consultant or somebody come and help you assess, is your process in line with what is being used in market or what is being discussed in the industry? You will understand how far are you from the expectations of tomorrow, and you can plan to plug yourself to ensure that you are always in line with the requirement of the market. So this will help you to kind of handle the people, that is the workforce, in a better way. In continuation, BIM literacy. So many companies provide a lot of trainings to the BIM staff, but we are missing out helping the people from contracts team, especially contracts or sales or even marketing, to understand what is BIM, how to read BIM, how to read the terminology in digital. And the same way with the IT people also. So unfortunately, IT people don't understand what is CAD and what is BIM. It is not their area, but it is necessary for us to give them a sufficient knowledge so that they can actually help you provide their support at the right time. Now, on the other side, you have the certifications. Now, we are trying to take the certifications, like say on a particular software, a process, or even OpenBIM or anything like that, only when our client is asking. The question is, why don't you encourage one or two people in your company to go ahead and appear for certain workshops and try to acquire the certification? So this will only help you with a couple of things, is that the person goes out and he acquires new knowledge. The knowledge comes back to you. It will go back to your IT team. It will go back to your contracts team, and it will also get into your learning document. A lot of things will happen. So just letting two people go, he will come back with so much of fresh knowledge that the entire people or the entire team within your company gets a fresh energy. So this is something that the company should actually start supporting. And on the process side, what is more important is like, see, we have business plans, we have marketing plans and all. Now, why don't we have a tech vision? Now, if you are very serious on adopting tech and BIM or digital twin kind of stuff, so you should have a plan for yourself, like next 3 to 5 years, this is where I have to be as a company. And this is what the kind of customers I have to serve, or this is the kind of projects I want to deliver. And if you set your goals and you start working towards that particular vision, everything will start falling in place. So if you don't want to have that long-term vision, you can look at some 5 project strategy. Like try to decide yourself 5 different kind of projects where you want to use the technology in 5 different stages. And you can experiment it, you can learn it, and consolidatedly, you might have more than 70% of the requirement of market. So you would reach a stage like that. Then on the other side, the scope metrics and change plan management. As I was saying earlier, so this is very necessary. Some kind of process should be started where you are trying to understand, okay, what is the project I'm doing? What is included? What is excluded? And how do you understand the trigger? So when something is not falling in place, how do somebody come to know, okay, something is wrong and I have to act upon it? So these kind of fixes in the process can help you kind of cut down on the extra expenditure you are doing. And in continuation, like rethinking the cost. So I want to little bit highlight on this. So today we are like kind of following different ways of costing. So in my experience, what I've seen is any project where you are only working on one or two trades. So I'm talking from the BIM perspective. So you're only doing HVAC or you are only doing electrical, and the project is of like hardly 3-4 months from effort point of view. So don't quote on square feet basis. Try to give a lump sum cost and try to wrap up the project in not more than 6 months. Now, when you have a large project which can engage you and your team for more than 9 months, it's very good to go with a square footage costing, because you'll have a continuous cash flow and there is some unknown things from the client side, the project gets stalled and stuff, you would have got a major portion of your profit. Now, other than that, charging the drawings by square feet, this is another big mistake we are doing. We are just saying like, okay, I'm charging you X rupees for BIM model and you pay me X plus one, I will also give drawing. So drawings cannot be charged by square feet. So drawings depend on various parameters like detailing, the LODs, the kind of specifications that are required and more. Now, you cannot exactly estimate the actual count of drawings early in the project. So we shouldn't be charging drawings by area. It should be charged by count. The next thing is a revision. So we agree on the contract documents that, okay, within my scope, I'm agreeing for 1 revision, 2 revision. When we really don't know what is the revision going to happen, how are we agreeing? So the ideal thing is that you put an end to your first submission. You agree that, okay, I'm working for 6 months, 9 months, whatever it is, I will submit it here. And whatever is the revision after that, I will better work on hourly basis. If not, I'll give a separate lump sum cost at that particular stage. Now, what is happening is the clients are asking you for 2 revisions. And when you actually open that revision, you will understand 70% of project is changed, which you never accounted for. And the last one is the derivatives from BIM. Like, I'm supposed to do BIM model. I'm agreeing on renderings free of cost, or I'm agreeing on 4D simulation free of cost, which is good. But the problem is we didn't account for the specialist who will do rendering, his machine, his software, the same way for 4D simulation. So that is where we are overcommitting and we are eating up the profits from the actual BIM team. Now, on the other side, client education and BIM awareness. So some companies follow it, but it is very necessary for us because, as I told in the beginning, there are a lot of clients who are themselves SMEs. So if you are investing in educating them today, there is definitely going to be some positivity later. So they might feel that you are the right person for them to walk along their growth, or it might over a period of time help you to justify why you are asking an X fee, or probably they might introduce you to many more people. So if you're just trying to do your business and get away, that will stop there. But if you try to join them as a guide, mentor in their journey, there might be some results in the near future wherein you might be recognized as a particular brand identity by them. So this is also something that we have to adopt in our process, not just kind of talk to the client on the subject and get away, but also try to educate them little bit where it is necessary. Don't over-educate them, but just educate them where it is necessary. And on the technology side, like choosing the process and deciding the software. Now, what is happening is the client says me today what software I have to use, which is good. But wherever the client is not saying what software to use, how are we deciding the software? There are so many applications in the market which can do fantastic. I mean, call which can do a lot of fantastic inputs and outputs. But unfortunately, we are not kind of evaluated and we really don't know uh, what uh, what exactly they are capable of and how they can help us rework our technology strategy. So that is something that we'll have to look at it. Other than that, there are a lot of applications in market which are totally free. They're all open source products, and even there are a lot of products coming up in the market which directly work on cloud. So you don't even require a very huge hardware, and many of them are working on browsers. You don't even have to install the software. So try looking at it and decide a software based on the process. Don't decide on what the client asked. So also try to understand how easy it is to learn or for a team to migrate and things like that. Now, on the other side, like you'll have to start understanding, okay, what my team is doing today and what I want them to do 3 years down the line, etc. So this will also help you understand how you'll have to take a decision on technology upscaling or technology migration and things like that. So with all this, there are a couple more things that I would like to say, which might not fit into whatever we spoke right now. Like on the people side today, we have a lot of companies providing manpower on deputation. So when you are not very clear that you require a team for 1 year. So why don't you try deputation? So there are a lot of companies, they can provide you people from X value to Y value, and they come in different formats. So this will also help you to ensure that you just do the work time being and you save your profits. Now, when you are sorry, when you are doing this deputation, the other thing that you will have to look at is that ensure that you never depute a BIM manager, lead, or coordinator, but always have him in-house. So the leadership team should be within you, and they should accumulate the knowledge and pass on, but the rest of the production team can look at deputation. Now, on the other side, you can look at co-sharing specialists, sorry. So if you are like a group of 2, 3 close friends who are running 2, 3 SME companies, why don't you look at having one common person as a BIM manager or a mentor or an expert? So if you're not competing among yourself, like one is architect, one is structural, and one is MEP, you can take a guidance of one BIM specialist on how you three can actually adopt the right technology and stuff like that. So when the need arises, you three can form a team and you can definitely bid for a big project. So this is something available in the market where we're not utilizing it. Now, BIM consultant. So while you're taking a guidance, as I told you in the last item, this is a different thing. So why don't you kind of look at having a permanent BIM consultant who will walk with you? So he is not supposed to be with you on daily basis, but why don't you ask him to come down to your office once a month or once a quarter? Have a small meeting with your leads and him. Ask him to come and say you what is happening in the market. Like how you read a newspaper to know the whereabouts. Why don't you have a BIM consultant to bring in this fresh knowledge, different strategies, and help you kind of understand whether you are on the right path. And the same BIM consultant, when need arises, you might be able to plug and play as your BIM manager or a BIM mentor, or you might be able to guide you on bidding on one of the complex projects you want to experiment with. That also can happen. Now, on the other side, the BIM execution plan. So what's happening is like we are mostly dependent on the BIM execution plans that come from the clients, and we're not making an effort to understand what exactly the BIM execution plan. So there is nothing big about BIM execution plan. It's simply a process document. It is saying, I want to do something. How do I do? So this is a question that you ask for any process. You want to send an email, you ask this question. You want to send a courier, you ask this. The same way BIM execution plan is simply asking you, you want to do BIM, how do you do it? Now, why to stop like why to wait for your client to give everything? Why don't you start from your experience and try to understand, okay, what exactly a BIM execution plan should have? There are a lot of formats available. Now, this also can help you to accumulate so much of knowledge and be ready for very risky projects. And on the technology side, like as I was saying, open BIM and open source tools, plenty of them are available. If the client is not asking you, I want in a particular software, experiment with that. And if it is giving the results, you might end up not buying the technology at all. Now, on the other side, wherever you are buying technology, you can definitely try monthly subscriptions. Most of the companies are providing monthly subscriptions. If you do a right assessment of your need, you can definitely get maximum ROI of your technology investment by going into monthly subscriptions. There is no need that you have 10 people, you have to buy 10 licenses. And the hardware part. So there are a lot of people providing you the fresh hardware on rent. Then also you have virtual machines. So a lot of people are providing you virtual machines where BIM kind of softwares can work on remote desktops, and we have internet issues resolved. We have internet everywhere across India. It's not a big deal. So you can start looking at this, and it might help you to offset your hardware investment for a while. Then curate a digital asset library again, as I was saying. So try to make your own library and start to say the client, okay, this is the quality I'll give you. So ask like if the why to wait for the client to say what he wants? Why don't you say, okay, this is what I have. Are you okay with this? Now, if the client says okay, you need not reinvent the wheel. Whatever you have in your library is going to work. Other than this, we do have a couple other things where the government is providing a lot of incentives to MSMEs who are wanting to invest in digital initiatives. So do check with them, and if you kind of match their criteria, you can take the leverage of tax holidays and a lot of other benefits. Other than this, I would recommend you to join industry bodies like CDCP, CII, and plenty of them are there, like BuildingSMART and stuff. So these forums will kind of help you give access to the knowledge, what is happening in the market. And a webinar like what I'm speaking to you or whatever we have been conducting for close to 10 years now will give you different perspectives from industry. Okay, why somebody is speaking a particular subject, or uh, what is the background of a speaker and what would have made him speak like this. So you'll get a lot of perspectives required for every person in your company, every role in your company, process in company, and together you will be able to crack a lot of um, complicated problems with ease. And other than this, you joining the body, you are also taking part in the creation of standards. This is very, very important. So you'll get a limelight and people are going to recognize you. So with all this, finally, these are the key takeaways. So the first one is BIM is a process. Remember it, it's not a software. The next one is the biggest leak is happening in the people and process, not in the technology as we are thinking. So technology is there. We are not using it rightly with the process and people. The third one is that we forget to do upskilling, and that is going to cost you a big bomb. Okay. And fourth one is that we don't have a vision where we don't know like where we are heading to. So having that vision can kind of help you streamline everything else that we are speaking. And the fifth one is the costing. So don't cost or don't charge everything in the same way as lump sum or square feet. Try to experiment it, try to understand the efforts and charge it accordingly. And the last one is like you need to have couple of things, like couple of smart ways to work with, and you should know the alternate tools, and you should have a certification, or you should know where is your foundation or baseline. So when you don't know these starting points, and when you don't know what if this doesn't work, we are in trouble. So these are some of the items that we'll have to keep continuously looking at it, so that we are able to migrate the problems that we are getting and ensure that our profits are not becoming expenditure. So with that, I'll stop my presentation. Thank you.